Welcome to RevZolutions. Today we're going to be looking at the GSXR 750, the 2017 model. Now this model has been the same since 2011. We've got two power modes. We've got A and B. They've reduced it from A, B, C from the old models. The K series, the new L series has only got the two. Mode A will give you your full power, full instant throttle response, and mode B will give you full power in high rev range, but then it's a reduced throttle response in the lower rev range, so it's a little bit less snatchy and a bit more reserved on the power. You do get a bit better miles per gallon as well, which is always good for a long journey. Now this edition of the GSXR 750 comes with 148 brake horsepower, and again, like I just said, there's no traction control, no ABS, no anti-high side, no anti-wheelie, nothing at all. So it is literally you and your bike. Now that equates to about 778 brake horsepower per tonne. Now this GSXR comes in at 190 kilograms dry. So with me being 90 kilograms, you're looking at 280 kilograms for this bike, which is a very light bike. Your 0 to 60 time is 2.8 seconds, so it's a very quick bike, sub 3 seconds on that one. Now the features this bike has got, you've got a lap timer, which is fantastic if you're on the track. That's just a flick of the switch on the right hand, so it's nice and easy to operate. Now to put into perspective the 0 to 60 time of 2.9 seconds, you're looking at the equivalent in the car performance, which would come in at a Lamborghini Aventador, which they cost £271,000 on average. So the 0 to 60 time on this bike is 2.9 seconds. Now the equivalent in the car performance, you'd be looking at a Lamborghini Aventador, which is £271,000 on average, or a Ferrari 458, and you're looking at, on that one, that's 3.4 seconds. This bike comes in at £10,000. I've had this bike a year now. Absolutely fantastic machine. You can't knock it. It does make me laugh when you see people in their small cars try not to let you into traffic queues, filter lanes and everything. They try and accelerate. If this is faster than a Ferrari, when you got your little Nissan Micras or your Audi A3s, don't even bother. You just go and embarrass yourself, squirt at the wrist, and we're ahead of them. Not even having to break speed limits, which is the main thing. We all want to keep our licenses at the end of the day. Now with this bike, I'm averaging about 39 miles per gallon out of a full tank. The fuel light's coming on at about 147 miles. It costs about £15 at the moment to fill up a full tank, which is reasonable. Before COVID came in, the fuel prices were a lot higher, and it was costing on average about £19. However, when I took this across Europe last year and done a long ride, I was averaging a lot higher. I think it was pushing about 50 miles per gallon, and you were coming in at about 180 miles out of a tank. And that was even before the solid amber light came on, which indicates that you are pretty much out of fuel. When you're low on fuel, you will just get a flashing amber light, and you average about 30 miles out of that, which is what I've got on so far on this bike. The engine on this is a 4-cylinder, 16 valve, inline 4, very smooth engine. We've got the Yoshimura exhaust on the back that comes standard from Suzuki. They put it on some of their models, not all of their models, some come with the big ugly cans, but this one thankfully came with that lovely Yoshimura exhaust, just sets it off with a nice carbon fibre finish. It's got an aluminium frame which keeps the light nice and light. It's all painted in black on this one. The earlier models came in silver, but this I believe you can only buy in black, which does also give a nice finish to the bike in its nice blue Suzuki Racing Team colours. With this bike, it has got a low seat height. I'm 5'7". I've got no issues flat footing it pretty much anywhere. You've got a seat height of 810 millimeters, which is again very comfortable for the shorter rider. For the taller rider, it's quite bent at the knee, to be honest. But again, you need to put your foot down anywhere. There's no dramas with that at all. You can comfortably do so. The front suspension comes with 41mm big piston front forks. They're fully adjustable. On the near side column, you've got your tension and your compression, and on your rebound and your compression split between the two forks. Nice and easy to adjust. Flathead screwdriver, just give it a little tweak. The rear as well, it's fully adjustable rear suspension, single suspension arm. We move on to the brakes. At the front, you've got two 310mm Brembo monoblock brakes. They're 4-piston brakes, radial caliper, and they are fantastic. Stopping power on them is brilliant. Grab a whole low front brake, it stops very quickly. On the rear, you got a single piston 220mm rear brake, which is it's debatable if that is a good brake. I think it's rubbish, to be honest. You have to really stamp on that brake to get anything out of it, but that's like most motorbikes. The rear brake isn't for anything special. It's under 10 miles an hour that you'd be using it, but those front brakes, very reliable. This bike comes with a gold chain, brilliant chain. I've not had to change it in the year and 4 months that I've owned the bike nearly. Keep regular maintenance of the bike and you're absolutely fine. Now with this bike as well, the recommended tyres that Suzuki have put on this bike are the Bridgestone Battle Axe S16s. They're fantastic, absolutely brilliant bike tyres. Plenty of grip in the dry, plenty of grip in the wet. I've been on monsoon style weather over in France and had no issues with the grip in the wet weather. Likewise, at the moment it's about 32 degrees in the south of England, absolutely roasting, and the grip that they offer as soon as they've heated up is fantastic. This bike did come with the S21s initially, however they are a little bit pricier, and the miles that I was doing on the bike, they were just wearing out.
Right, the GSXR 750. This is a cracking bike. It's about 146 brake horsepower, and you've got two power modes. You've got mode A and mode B. Mode A is the full grunt, the full shebang. It is absolutely insane. And then you've got mode B, which is like a slightly delayed throttle response. It's quite a reserved power until you get into the higher rev range, but it's a nice comfortable ride on mode B. I tend to use it quite a lot purely on the fact that it's a bit better on fuel economy, so it's nicer to be able to get a little bit further up the road before you run out. The acceleration on this bike is pretty good. It's not going to hang around. Now the seat is quite hard. I mean, it's not rock solid, but after an hour or so in the saddle, you definitely start to feel like you need to get off and give yourself a good stretch. Then again, that might be because I've used this bike for nearly 21,000 miles, and it might be time for a new seat. I think this is worn down a little bit, but for general trips here, there and everywhere, it's not too bad at all. The wind mirrors, they are pretty good. The actual glass on the wind mirror moves, so the actual wind mirror arm stays fixed, and then all you got to do is just angle the glass into the direction that you want, which is quite nice, because if you need to fold the wind mirrors in, you can just bend them up, and then when you push them back out, you're still looking at exactly the same spot as you left off, which is always a nicety when you're having to move quickly. You haven't got to set your wind mirrors back up. Now the handlebars, they're below the headstop, they are very low. But I've never had, so I've been riding this bike since April 2019, and I've never had any issues with the actual like achy wrists, which people, I guess, who don't ride sports bikes presume that you're always going to get on sports bike. Never had achy wrists. My lower back when I first started riding this bike took a beating. It hurt, and it hurt for probably about a week, and I was riding it every day for a week. But then over time it just slowly got better, and my back and my body got used to it, and now it just doesn't give me any dramas whatsoever. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with the rideability of this bike on your body. It's not difficult. Why did I go for a GSXR 750 over a 600 or a 1000? I'd done a lot of research online, and it seemed that the 750 was the best all-round bike. 1000, you've got so much power, it wants to push you fast, it wants you to keep going, it wants you to really just tear the roads up, and I don't want that. I want a bike that I can jump on every day and use it comfortably. The 600, it's got more than enough power. More than enough power to do everything you want. But I just thought I'd also be different. Have a 750. Go for the one in between. And I don't regret getting this bike. The only issue with this is the insurance. It is, so I'm 33 years old. I've been riding 2 years, and this bike, for me to insure it, not garaged, is £1,000 a year. I've never paid that for a car, and I've had some fast cars, but £1,000 to insure this bike is a lot of money. I guess half of that reason is because it's a new bike as well. If I was to get an older GSXR 750, I was looking about £400 or £500 a year to insure it, which is a lot more reasonable. However, I'm locked into the PCP deal on this one, but I don't regret it. I love riding this bike every day. I've put 13,000 miles on it, and they've been an enjoyable 13,000 miles. 2,500 around Europe, and the rest commuting, just rides here, there and everywhere. It's been fantastic, so I definitely get my money's worth out of the insurance and the cost. Now the headlight during the day is always lit. Good safety feature. Let the cars and people know you're coming. At night time, it's a pretty good light at night. You turn the high beam on and it just illuminates everything. And these are normal halogen lamp bulbs. They're not LEDs. There's no smart technology in the bulbs whatsoever. They're just normal headlights. The Ninja 650 I had before this, those headlights were awful. At night time you can't even see what was coming. But yeah, for this bike they're pretty good. I'm happy with them. I've got no intention of wanting to change them for anything else. But the handling of this bike is fantastic. This bike weighs about 190 kilograms roughly. Probably about nearly 200 with a full tank of fuel, which it's got now. And yeah, it's perfect. If you want to lean in, you literally just the slightest movement of your body and the bike turns. It goes where you want it to go. Now, I think the question that people ask is, should I buy a 750? It depends what you want. Are you buying this bike for everyday use? If you are, then there's no problem with that at all. You will find this bike very accommodating. I'm 5'7", and the majority of places I stop, I'm flat-footed on this bike. It gives me no problem